Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today is a really exciting day because I have just received something fantastic in the post. I've received new Citadel technical paints. Okay, no, I'm being silly. Obviously, this is what is so exciting. I have received my copy of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soul Wars. Now, when I started my YouTube channel, one of the first things I did was there was a series of new Warhammer 40k starters out. There was First Strike and No Fear, and I sort of worked through those and did some content on getting started in 40k because I had never played Warhammer 40k before, and a couple of people asked, "Are you going to do something similar for Age of Sigmar?" And my answer was always yes, but I don't know when. Because I was kind of waiting for a starter set for Age of Sigmar that really excited me. Because I've never played Age of Sigmar properly. It's quite weird. Until last year I hadn't played Warhammer 40k, and until now I didn't have a proper Age of Sigmar product. Which is weird because I've been a fan of Games Workshop for years and have all of their board games and stuff like that. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is I was waiting for something to come along for Age of Sigmar that really interested me, and Soul Wars is it, because it's got loads of undead gribblies in it, and undead gribblies are awesome. Way back in the day, back in the days of Fantasy Battle, back when I was a wee nipper, I had a big undead army, and I was very, very keen on using my big undead army to slowly roll over various different opponents, and Undead are back, and they're back in a big way with some of the most amazing Games Workshop miniatures ever. So I've ordered this, and it's turned up, and this is not necessarily an introductory product. This is a big fat product. I got it for £76, I believe, and that was with a standard online discount from my regular supplier. Which is an amazing price for what you're getting. There's like 52 miniatures, big hardback rulebook, loads of other stuff, which we will look at in a moment. But it is a full product. It's a big fat product, and if you're brand new to Age of Sigmar, this may not be the best option. I thought it was going to be the only option, but only today Games Workshop have announced 2 starter sets that will be coming out, which follow in the same format as the Warhammer 40k one. So there's one called Soul Strike, which is a very small entry-level product, which has models that are unique to that box set. Not unique in that you can't get them anywhere else. You can buy them individually, but they're models that don't appear in this box. So it automatically serves as like a little expansion. So if you get this, you can buy that, or you can just get that one and start with it. And then there's like an intermediary product which has some of the models from this set as like a halfway house type thing. I will probably look at those another time. I will, at the very least, I will pick up Soul Strike because it's got a bunch of different miniatures in it, and I would like to sort of talk about that as an introduction to the hobby. But for now, I'm going to talk about this as an introduction to the hobby, and I'm super excited about it, and I've probably mentioned that about a million times, but that's because I'm super excited about it. And yeah, I'm probably going to do quite a bit of content on this. I'm going to unbox it right now. All I've done so far is take off the shrink. That's as far as it's got. So I'm going to do an unboxing, and yeah, I'll probably use some playthroughs. I might get my daughter involved in that. Building stuff, and obviously the reason I picked up these technical paints is because Games Workshop released these at the same time as the new undead figures, basically saying they're a good way to paint models quickly and effectively, and I'm going to test that out, and we're going to see whether it really is possible to do a really lazy paint job and get some decent looking undead miniatures by using these new technical paints. That's the plan. But anyway, the plan right now is to open this box. This box is awesome. It's so super slick. It's really very beautiful, and it says here that it's the ultimate Warhammer Age of Sigmar box set, and it probably is at the moment until the next one. It has, sorry, it's absolutely huge box, so a bit of trouble getting it all in shot, but you get obviously Stormcast Eternals, obviously. A lot of people don't like the fact that Stormcast Eternals turn up everywhere, but they are basically, you know, the main thrust of the storyline, at least in these early days of Age of Sigmar. It is all about the Stormcast Eternals going, right, we've had enough of this Chaos Malarkey, let's have at it. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that they're usually at the forefront of everything, and they are basically the Space Marines of Age of Sigmar. What is interesting about this new set is that they're slightly different Stormcast Eternals. Rather than just being big dudes with big hammers, they're kind of big dudes with big magical things. Yeah, they're kind of like more of a focus on sort of magic in this set, which is quite cool. This box contains, I'm not going to show you that, that's a spoiler. Let's have a look. First thing, is it a cost-cutting exercise, or is it just an attempt to be slick? But there is no lid. There's just a super slim slipcase thing. I don't know why they chose to do that, but it would have been nice to have had a box lid underneath. I know most people don't worry about that sort of thing, but I like boxes. I'm a weirdo. I was probably a cat in another life. Probably not a very nice cat. Probably why I'm allergic to them now. That's a nice picture, isn't it? There's a lot of Stormcasts and a lot of Grim Reapers, Night Haunts, Grimghasts, or whatever they're going to call them. That's just a box with the miniatures in it. It's in its separate little box. Now, this is not the first time that I have seen this type of setup where you open the box and there's a little box like that which is got the miniatures separate. That was previously seen, at least by me, it was seen in the Kingdom Death Monster box where all the miniatures were in a separate little insert tray, and that is a really, really clever idea. Not so long ago, Games Workshop put out Silver Tower, and all of the cardboard bits and stuff in a lot of copies. Mine was actually miraculously okay, but a lot of people received copies where the tiles and the cards were all gouged up by the plastic pieces because they just lobbed the plastic on top of all the bits. And then by the time things like Blood Bowl were around, they'd started putting a little insert between the miniatures, so you had all your cards and stuff at the bottom, your book at the bottom, and then you had all your miniatures on the top. And this is now the evolution of that. This is the next stage in the process. We'll look at the miniatures in a minute. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time looking at the miniatures because I'm going to do a separate video taking a closer look at the miniatures once I've sort of assembled them, because I don't find it hugely interesting to look at miniatures on the sprues, especially when these are they're push fit and there's no options that I'm aware of. I may be wrong, but as it stands at the moment, my belief or my understanding is that you build them one way only. Here's the book. Look at that. That is a mighty tome. It's also shrink wrapped. They did this with the Dark Imperium 40k full set, in that you got the whole experience in a box, and you got the full hardback rules, which is pretty amazing. I mean, when you think how much... sorry, I'm just going to do this off camera a second. When you think... There you go, look at that picture of a giant griff hound. What I don't know what the things in Age of Sigmar are called. A griff something or other. A griff riding stalker beastie. What was I saying? Yeah, when you think how much a full hardback rules book would normally cost, getting it in the box is pretty awesome. These smaller sets are obviously not going to have the full rules. They're going to have like the starter rules. And by the way, the core rules are free to download, so you don't need this big beefy book. This big beefy book is for the full shebang. You don't need it to get started, and that's quite cool as well. There's a Lady Stormcast. That's neat as well. That's really cool. Sort of pride and place. That makes a refreshing change. That's nice. It's a nice piece of art as well. And she looks like she's going to kick some ass. It's not often you see female Stormcast Eternals, and it's not often you see Stormcast Eternals without a helmet. So that's a cool piece of artwork for two reasons. Not the first female Stormcast Eternal we've seen. There was one in the previous Age of Sigmar box set, which she was leading a group Stormcast against some plague Nurgle chaps. And obviously there is a female Stormcast Eternal in the Shadespire box set. And I believe we get quite a few female models in this box set. Neato. I don't know how much of this rulebook I want to look at right now, because I mean I did a separate video just for the Warhammer 40k hardback rules, and so I will probably do the same thing here, because these books are so packed with content and beautiful artwork and fluff and everything else. I think, you know, they're beautiful products and they deserve their own video. I mean, you know, I'm not going to I don't think it's right to flick through something like this and just go, well, that's the book. I think they deserve a bit of attention, because I'm a big fan of books anyway. Beautifully put together books with loads of fluff and loads of interesting artwork and all of that. It's good, and I'd probably like to have a little look at the contents and have a better idea of what is in here before I start gabbling too much about it. So for now, just to know, there's a really nice rulebook in there with a little ribbon and everything, and spot gloss artwork. That's really cool. And yeah, when you think I paid £76 for this box set with the 52 miniatures and the hardback rules and a bunch of other stuff, can't complain at that sort of value, can you really? Well, I mean, you can complain at that sort of value, but you're probably being a jerk. The Battle of Glaimsforge. So this is more shrink wrap to deal with. I should always have something. So I should always have something, some weapon, an arcane knife of some description, a knife of stabbing, because it's never good for a video when you just, I did it folks. It's never good for a video when you're staring at a blank white background whilst listening to me rustle. And my name's not even Russell. Here's some stuff. What have we got? We'll have a look at that in a minute. Oh god, there's so much stuff in here. Right. Battle of Glaimsforge is the, I would guess, the scenario book. So we've got some more fluff and some more cool artwork. That's a great big axie hammer thing you've got, sir. Yeah, the free city of Glaimsforge. Lots of... Yeah, the night haunts are super creepy. Of Storm and Spirit. Yeah, Sacrosanct Chambers. These are the new Stormcast. They're a bit more magically. What's this? It's sort of fluff on all the different units. Ah, cool. So these are all the different dudes. Artillery. To best of my knowledge, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, or don't, just point and laugh. This is the first time that Stormcasts have had proper artillery, and it looks like it's like a bit of a cross between an old Reaper repeater crossbow and one of those Gatling cannon things that Empire armies used to have. Used to make me upset because they used to chew up my armies. Miniatures, lots of miniatures and whatnot. Stuff about night haunt spirits. So what is this? Is this just a book of background? I thought this was like a scenario book. It's got the pitch battle profiles in the back. Oh, okay. That's just a thing. That's just a thingy. Core rules. So you're getting your hardback rulebook, which has everything, but you're also getting the core rules in a separate booklet, which is cool because this is the thing that you can kind of have out on the table for quick reference. Because as beautiful as the hardback book is, and as nice as it is to have a full hardback rulebook, it's not the most convenient thing to have out on the table during play. So something like this is handy dandy. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with Age of Sigmar. I've done a little bit of Age of Sigmar Skirmish, which was kind of like a little sort of mini rule set that came out for the first edition of Age of Sigmar. So I've done a bit of that, but not much. But this will be my first foray into full-blown Age of Sigmar goodness. And this, I mean, looks pretty standard. It looks like it's laid out pretty much like the Warhammer 40k rules were. And I found those nicely done, intuitive, easy to follow, all that sort of stuff, all the good things. Games Workshop with 40k and Age of Sigmar kind of have veered towards trying to keep things as streamlined as possible. I think that does have, and it does mean that there's increased risk of there being grey areas when you're playing the game. You sort of look to the rules for an answer to something, and that answer may not be there because the rules have kind of gone for this very, very focused approach. But I think that's a kind of swings and roundabouts sort of thing, and for someone like me who's super casual and a noob, I think it's a good approach. I mean, there's going to be some hardcore players who are getting very annoyed that that they don't have that very, very in-depth set of rules available to them. But, you know, is that the same woman, do we reckon? I wonder if that's... Oh, it's the same piece of artwork, they've just changed the helmet. There you go, it is exactly the same piece of artwork, but there you go. Games Workshop make modular miniatures, and now they make modular art. Start here. She really... Okay, so let's just start here. This is your introduction to the game. So there she is. And then, you know, once you do that, you sort of graduate to this. So this is when the gloves come off, not the helmet, surely. Anyway, start here. Collect, build, paint, play. Play, right at the bottom. Surely it's build, play, paint, collect. Or in my case, build, play, collect, maybe paint. This is kind of like your introduction to what you're dealing with. Telling you about the Stormcast, telling you about the Legions of Death. Stuff, start playing, telling you what you need. I was expecting kind of like a tutorial in here, but there is not. It's kind of that's kind of like a fluff intro, really. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen some kind of. I'm guessing the smaller starter sets, particularly Soul Strike, is going to have a book which has learning scenarios in it, which are similar to the Warhammer 40k learning scenarios, which I thought were a really lovely way to get some people who have never played before into the game. They sort of introduced. I've done videos on all this, so if you haven't seen those and you're interested, please check them out. I've done playlists for First Strike and No Fear, and both of those box sets had tutorials that gradually introduced you to new concepts like moving and shooting and hand-to-hand, and gradually introduced more and more units until eventually you were playing with the entire contents of the box, and that was a really lovely way to do it. This box set is obviously not doing that. I'm assuming they will be leaving that to the to those smaller starter sets when they come out. This is more of the full experience. And this is the assembly guide. Games Workshop really have come on so far with their assembly guides, and they are now absolutely phenomenal. They're all color coded. They've got like the breakdown of the sprues, so you know exactly what you should have. There's a contents list, and the way they do it, it shows. It's got like color coded sections and stuff. Normally it would have like sections marked where you would glue the miniatures, but I believe that these models all go together without glue. There you go, no glue required. I'm sure a lot of people will glue them anyway, just to be on the safe side. But that's pretty impressive to have a whole starter set of really, really awesome miniatures that do not require glue and just push fit. It's really cool, and they're really nice miniatures. Speaking of miniatures, I've been talking for 20 odd minutes, and I haven't even shown you the miniatures yet. Right. Oh golly. They got black armbands on. Come on. Separate. These are the scrolls. Which so what's that one then? Oh, it's a doubler. Right. Sorry, you get out of the way. You get out of the way. I'll deal with you in a minute. So yeah, this is the Warscrolls. So you get the Lord Arcanum. It's a Griff Charger. There you go. I said it was like a, what do I call it? I don't know, a Griff Runner or something. So you get a Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger. I'm still not totally convinced about the layout of the cards for Age of Sigmar, because this bit's alright and this bit's alright. This just shows like your basic stats. This shows your attack options. It's this bit down here because it kind of like mixes in fluff text with rules, and it's not. I think I would rather have it a lot more easy just to spot exactly what I need when I'm at a glance. But that's just me. The Silastar Ballastar. These names. Castigators. These are basically grenade launchers. They're a Thunderhead Great Bow. Yeah, so these got some little sequins. The Sequitors. Evocators. Knight Incantor. So that's the Stormcast dudes. The Nighthaunt forces are predominantly made up of like little these guys. The Chain Rasp Horde. I think it's something like 20 miniatures. Yeah, so we've got Chain Rasp Horde, Glaive Wraith Stalkers. These are cool. I really like these miniatures. Grimghast Reapers, the Spirit Torment, Lord Executioner, Guardian of Souls, Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed. That is a fantastic miniature. When I've got that put together, I'll show that off on camera because it is absolutely phenomenal. It is the undead stuff that I am super excited about. I do like Stormcast Eternals. I'm not one of those hipsters who don't like them. I am, I'm one of those Games Workshop fans that likes Ultramarines and, yeah. So, hate me if you will. And yeah, so I quite like Stormcast Eternals. So I'm not ashamed to admit it. We've got some weird bases in here. The bases have got holes in the bottom. I'm still pulling stuff out of this box. There's like a little cool insert with a little cool piece of art in the bottom. Alright. What else was there? It's a big flippy ruler. This is kind of a standardy thing now with Games Workshop. They like to stick these flippy rulers in. They're better than the old whippy sticks they used to do and stuff like Necromunda. So bases, yep. And it's got the slotty base. Transfers to make your life easier if you're like me and you're rubbish at painting. Oh, next steps. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, more stuff to buy. And now this, these 4 easy to build sets, I believe those are the 4 sets that have been bundled together to create the Soul Strike starter set. So rather than buying them all individually, I think you can buy the Soul Strike starter set, which actually works out cheaper, and that'd be that. There's a sample chapter of Soul Wars by Josh Reynolds. I feel like I've already read that sample chapter. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Who knows? But that's a cool little bonus. But obviously it's advertising fluff, isn't it? It's like, buy my book. That's what that is. Dice. I thought they were boring black dice. They're not boring black dice. They're not boring black dice at all. They are sort of semi-translucent blue. They are pretty dice. That's probably not going to come out very, very well on camera. They're probably just going to look black, but trust me, they are not. They are quite nice. It's a shame there's not any custom imagery on them, because that would be nice too. Like a bit of custom imagery. But you know, look at me complaining about the lack of custom imagery on the dice when I've been unboxing this set of stuff for 27 minutes before even getting to the plastic. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a long time looking. Oh, look, bubble wrap! Bubble wrap. There's bubble wrap in the. Ooh, big bubbles as well. No. Oh, it's the disappointing ones. They don't pop. It's too big to pop. Arrgh. That's it. Send it back. That's a big load of bases. Oh, look at all these miniatures. Look at all these. Oh, these are amazing. I'm going to put that down there. That one's inside because you're not going to be able to see much of what's going on otherwise. That is the big ethereal steed. It's awesome. It's so good. One of my favourite things when I had my old undead army was my unit of undead cavalry. I think the idea of skeletons riding on skeleton horses is awesome. There's some big tormented dude thing. Look at all the spindly bits. There's so many spindly bits, guys. When you're cutting these out of the sprues, if you are new to miniatures gaming, use cutters. Don't try and cut these out with a knife. They're going to snap like anything. If you put the wrong kind of pressure on these, they're going to snap. So make sure you've got some clips, some snippety snips. You don't have to have Games Workshop branded snippety snips, but make sure you do have some. I'll probably do a little bit on video of I've done it before. I've done videos in the past about cutting stuff out of sprues and what to do and what not to do, but I'll probably do a little bit more of that as well with these, because I'm excited, and when I'm excited I end up doing loads of stuff. These are cool. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hold these up to the camera one by one so you can get a little look at them and see what's going on with them. You can see that they are push fit. You can see that that's what they've gone for. They're keyed. They've got pegs on one side and holes on the other side, and they're pretty amazing. I like them a lot. But yeah, I'm just going to hold these up one at a time quick. Like I said, I will do a separate video after I've chucked them all together, and we will have a little chat about how easy they were to put together, whether there were any that caused any problems, and we'll go from there. Really, I've got lots of content I want to do for this. It's been a long time since I've had like a really meaty game to get my teeth into, and you know, this is it. I mean, I think the last time I did like a lot of persistent content about one particular game was when the new edition of 40k came out, and I worked through both of those starter sets. So I do intend to do something kind of similar. Look at that. Look at the movement on that sprue. It's amazing. They actually look like they're flying around on the sprue. It's quite trippy. I mean, it really does look like everything's kind of like swirling around in amongst each other. You can imagine like that's a swirl of tormented souls rising up from hell. It's bloody brilliant. These miniatures, these undead miniatures, are Games Workshop at their absolute best. This is as good as it gets. The problem is the undead stuff is so cool. It makes the Stormcast, which like I've already said, I think a lot of people dislike Stormcast anyway, and I do feel they sort of pale in comparison to the undead stuff. They just don't, you know, they're cool, but there's some. They look almost ordinary, and that's not something you normally say about Age of Sigmar stuff. Age of Sigmar stuff is really, it's exciting fantasy to me. I love the old world. You know, I was a fan of it, but I had stopped playing Fantasy Battle long before they blew it up. But when Age of Sigmar came along, I'm a big fan of myths and legends and things like that, and it sort of tapped more into that style of things and has gradually evolved out from there. And their approach to things now, and the fantastical creatures they're creating, the fantastical races, like they've just had the deep sea elves riding around on their giant turtles and things like that, and it's just a really exciting time for Games Workshop stuff. They're really going for it. Yeah, really going for it. I mean, they're pushing new boundaries, and they're trying to open their market to new people. The starter sets and things, the push fit miniatures, things like that. I think it's brilliant having push fit miniatures. The detail doesn't suffer at all, and if you're into conversions and things like that, you're going to have the skill to convert a push fit miniature the same as you would a modular miniature, really. Yeah, you lose some of the customization options. You might not be able to swap out an axe for a sword or whatever without having a bit more modelling skill, but frankly, you're not losing any detail, and it makes it so much more accessible. And Games Workshop seem to be really wanting to do that at the moment. They want to be opening their products to as many people as possible. I've even just heard that they're going to release a Warhammer 40k Monopoly. So I don't like Monopoly, but I do feel like I will have to buy a copy just to have a look at it, because it sounds so utterly crazy. And that's the last sprue. Anyway, so that's it. We're done. We've got through the box. It took 33 minutes to plough through it all. I barely looked at the miniatures. I barely flicked through the massive, great big rule book. For my 76 quid, I cannot at all in any way, shape or form complain about the level of content. Whether that all equates into a really fun gaming experience is another matter entirely, but based entirely on the quality of the artwork, the quality of the books, the quality of the miniatures, the quantity of the miniatures, the extras, the little accessories and books, and the dice. It's fantastic. Is it going to be a set for anyone starting out? Possibly not. Like I said, we'll have a look at Soul Strike at some point, but this is the first video in what I'm hoping will be quite a fun little journey. Age of Sigmar may be hogging the limelight on my YouTube channel for a little while, but I will still try and slip in a few bits here and there that are not Age of Sigmar related for those people who just aren't interested. But if you are interested in Age of Sigmar, stick around, because I'm hoping to put out a lot more content for this game, because I may have mentioned it and you may have picked up on it, but if not, it's okay. But I'll mention it one more time just as I sign off, is that I'm really, really excited about this product. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.